Interesting idea I'm having. And this is in relation to Drake following that one girl like on her 18th birthday, that streamer. Not any like directly about Drake, but about that type of situation. And to get even more expansive, maybe about like that 60-year-old pastor marrying that like 18-year-old girl. It's just hilarious. Honestly, it's kind of sad. I'm glad I didn't grow up where we were this deeply involved in internet culture as a young dude, because I'm realizing the fear of like never having a girlfriend or a wife that these guys are experiencing. It's because like the let me try to explain this in words like make this make sense. As an 18-year-old, no, as a 17-year-old kid in high school, I have more competition to be in relationship across the board than if I dated my peers at 25 or 30 and the number just keeps on getting less and less and less. Not because women are less desirable, though, is what I'm starting to realize. It's because the closer you get the girl towards 18, you guys probably know this already too, but the closer you get the girl towards 18, the more responsible you can be for molding her and her psyche, basically like making her codependent onto you and like your instruction. But on the other side of that, dating women over the age of 25, 30, but like an experienced 25, 30, something older than that, is they just don't want to be owned, in the sense that you're appreciating a person. And again, this is not all women. This is just from what I've experienced and what I'm seeing through my peers and other people in relationships, in long lasting relationships with older grown women. You have to be willing to appreciate them for who they are, and then willing to present yourself as somebody who can complement the growth of that. When you're dating above 25, but you're dating below 25, then you can just say, this is who I am. You have to accept this. This is what you're going to be. You're going to be that. And it's almost like that lower side is a child looking for the validation of who to be from their parent, versus somebody who has had to go through an experience by being alone or by being apart from community, understanding who they are, what needs they actually have, and then now they're seeking relationship as a means of actually complementing their growth and serving those needs, versus just being somebody who's like looking for a parent, or somebody who's looking to be almost like owned by a master. Again, some of you guys like those types of relationship dynamics, so I'm not kind of pitting this against you guys. I'm just trying to give reason as to why, and I have a whole bunch of like 30-plus-year-old women, beautiful women in my community, and I know they don't question as to why like they're not dating at the same levels as like these kind of younger kind of hot shots or whatnot, because they already have these kind of philosophical, sociological conversations. But for my guys too that are kind of like maybe confused on the situation, or for the people who don't understand as to why there's this anger and this dismay around being in relationship with women above the age of 30, the cat ladies, they want to tell you. And it's weird because like so many of the qualities that I see guys looking for in women, they women have them. They just come out of a 35 or like a grown, experienced, again, this is what they don't want, come out of a grown woman, but you can't do the controlling shit to this. Like you actually have to address these situations, even conflict, like an adult. And it's just, if since we as men don't really have healthy ways of dealing with our anger, even when it comes to other men, it's very difficult to really address that effectively, for lack of better terms. And honestly, I think this is a kind of unrelated probably, but a little bit of me thinks about purity culture. And I had this actually conversation with somebody that I was in a relationship with. I think a little bit of purity culture in like this like Eurocentric Christian sense. And again, this is not science or anything. This is just me making a baseless opinion. It's the shame in not being able to satisfy the woman with your junk, whether it be because you don't do motion in the ocean or there is just no ship in the ocean. And it's looking out into a world full of other men, not all, but full of other men who are bigger than you, whether it's more attractive than you, more masculine than you, bigger junk than you. And you do this purity culture thing as a means of making sure women, especially like white women, cannot experience any type of pleasure or satisfaction in a sexualized sense outside of being under the complete domination and almost like legislative domination of white men. Because there's something about like the internal just feeling and attraction that cannot be understood or controlled by traditional logic and like human understanding that will completely override any limitation or system that we've put to try to contain it. It's the same reason why these people hated rock and roll. Like I'm telling you, these people fucking hated rock and roll. They hate anything that is just inspired internally and cannot be controlled. They only like it as far as it can be exploited and profit can be created for them to then gain some kind of power or leverage out of. And you guys might say that purity culture has to do with humans just being animals, not being able to control themselves. There's something called discipline, and there's something called self-respect, and there's something called respecting other people's autonomy, humanity, and unwillingness to participate in certain acts, even if we want to. That all get in the way of having just a radically rampant sexualized culture. Which is actually kind of hilarious because the world we live in, which doesn't teach proper sex ed, doesn't allow sex health care to be of free or widespread access, and also gives free access to free corn online to anybody to have access to, like a fucking like a gas station dick pill. Yeah, that's the type of circumstances that would create a society that is excessively addicted to or just like hypersexualized and rampant in their animalistic desire to just like hunch all day. Not what I'm talking about. Okay, this conversation is kind of going everywhere, so I want to make sure we're bringing it back to the point. If I were like an 18-year-old dude right now, even just a high school kid, honestly, I wouldn't even worry about not necessarily dating. I would like just to engage and to understand kind of what that's like. That's something I would do, but I wouldn't take it so seriously, bro, to the point where I'm becoming an incel because I can't get a date or I can't get a girl. Like, it's not that serious, bro. You got to sit here and also think about how social media has fucked up everybody's brains. We're living in an unprecedented, I keep saying that word when I can't even pronunciate it properly. We live in an unprecedented time in history, and a lot of people are going to be regretting a lot of the shit that they did in this little bubble or era that we're living in if we make it to the other side of what I think this is. So understand, don't rush yourself, bro. And everybody's not in relationships like that. Everybody's not having sex like that. Everybody's not happy and in community like that. Everyone's not being supported like that. Everyone's literally performing and masking themselves with these platforms to just hope that they get the validation of feeling like they're better than somebody else, so they don't have to actually feel like how they feel. So if you're taking the time to actually address like the things that you lack, address the things that you're confused about, you're scared of, your fears, the things that that depress you, if you are willing to address that shit, and as raw as that looks, as real as that looks, I'm telling you, but you're already setting yourself light years ahead of all your peers. It's not that even you have to wait to like get to know these girls. You're going to want a girl who knows herself. That's one of I think that's one of the greatest privileges that you can have in this world, a girl who genuinely knows herself, because it's not just some dude's manipulation, some circumstance, some feeling that's going to manipulate her into doing something that goes against like respecting you or just being a piece of shit. If she knows herself, then home is always going to be where she's at. And you can always come to her. You can be vulnerable with bringing your heart to her, bringing yourself, bringing your truth to her or him or whoever you're in relationship with. But I guess I'm speaking just about like the girls right now because of how many, I guess, older dudes love preying on young girls and make that hyper competitive space for dating your peers as a high school kid or just a college kid. Chill on that shit, bro, and wait for I'm telling you, bro, like, girls only get better as they age. We're like some fine wine type shit. Our society will never, ever show you that, tell you that, or even allow us to accommodate that for the sake of perpetuating this, like, predatory, pedophilic-ass patriarchy shit. But we can have those conversations all day.